Welcome back, everybody. I'm Ed Berliner. This is our extended coverage of the GOP 2016 Nevada Caucus. And caucus is going to turn out to be a dirty word in Nevada by the time everything is said and done here. Here's just a small example of what we are hearing and what we are seeing. First of all, on social media, poll workers wearing campaign shirts make sense, really. At least we know which ballots are concealed under which envelopes. From former Florida Congressman Trey Radel, quote, "How many voters woke up this morning with a severed head of a horse in their bed?" Anytime somebody makes a Godfather reference, they get on this show. It's very easy. It's that simple. Plus, we wanted to add this. Here's a tweet that came out, and we have to share this with you. The tweet said that the RNC issued a statement on the Nevada caucus, and it linked to a video. Here's the video.
This is on top of this birther issue, which we heard from Donald Trump and others, a racist effort to try to delegitimize the president of the United States. My dad, as I mentioned, came from Poland. I'm running for president. Guess what?
That is not the video. We are going to get to Bernie Sanders in a moment, but I'm determined we're going to show this because we dug this one out. So once again, a tweet said the RNC issued a statement on the Nevada caucus, and it linked to a video. Here's the video. Okay, well, unfortunately, that's two chances, so we're not going to try it a third time. I was told that we had this video. We don't. We'll work on it. No sweat. We got lots of time. Let's do it. Get back to work with Rick Ungar and Michael Brown, because I know those guys are there, so it's easy. Don't sweat, guys. We're going to bring this up because it's all too good. We cannot miss this. Okay, now.
I got a video. You want a video? I got a video.
That's a little bit, I'm afraid, right now. Please, not at your house.
We're not watching your home movie, Michael.
All right. Let's get serious again. Let's bring this all back. Let's talk a little bit about the Democrats here, because earlier tonight, the Democratic town hall, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders had a chance to get out there and make their case. I'm going to play this video now. We had this just a moment ago, and here's the clip. This was Bernie Sanders. He said that President Obama has faced more obstruction from Republicans than any other president. Then he brought up Obama's birther issue, and he said this.
This is on top of this birther issue, which we heard from Donald Trump and others, a racist effort to try to delegitimize the president of the United States. My dad, as I mentioned, came from Poland. I'm running for president. Guess what? Nobody has asked for my birth certificate. Maybe it's the color of my skin. I don't know.
All right, Rick Ungar, I'm going to come to you the first time on this because Bernie Sanders brings race into the whole thing. He brings race into the conversation now about the Republicans. A lot of people think it's a little bit insulting, and maybe he's going a little bit too far. What do you think?
Well, you know, it's not my thing. I don't bring race into it. My basic premise in life is if I don't know you, I'm not going to call you a racist unless you write something and print it that makes it very clear you're a racist. So no, I wouldn't go there. Look, I was kind of interested in the obstructionism part of it. If you set aside the politics, which, hard for us all to do, the reality is the Republicans have been obstructionists, but you know what? The truth is, if you put a Republican president in the White House and a Democratic Congress in the Congress, the Democrats will be obstructionists. It's the nature of the beast. Where I think this particular Congress went wrong, particularly in the Senate, was on the night of Barack Obama's inauguration, when they held that meeting to agree to obstruct everything that this guy proposed. That's where this went wrong. I think that meeting was just a terrible, terrible shame. I hope my party would never do such a thing. But I don't beat them up that much for actually being obstructionists. That's how it works.
All right, Michael, let me come to you, because earlier today, almost the GOP basically said that we are basically not going to hear anything this season. We're not going to hear anything the rest of the year here from the president when it comes to the new Supreme Court nominee. So again, we're come down to that point that the new president is going to have to deal with this. Whoever this is, he is going to have to work with this. What do you do then to kind of bring these sides together, or is it just impossible here? Because at the end of the day, Michael, it's what we talk about. This is politics.
Well, I hate to shock everybody, but this is exactly what the founders envisioned, is that if there's a division in the country, we ostensibly still have separation of powers, and if it's divided between the two houses of Congress and the executive branch, you have a log jam. And until the voters break that log jam, that's the way it's supposed to work. I think bipartisanship is I hate the word, because look, there's times for bipartisanship, issues of national security, issues of war, issues of when we're under threat of some sort. But bipartisanship, just for the sake of bipartisanship, I think that's BS. I just think the founders envisioned a system where gridlock was okay. And when the voters get tired of the gridlock, the voters will do something about it.
Rick, isn't it that simple? And again, I hate to just break it down to that, but this is politics. One side complains when one side does something, the other side complains when they do exactly the same thing. This is not, isn't this really a little bit of a tempest in a teapot here, honestly?
Well, it's not a tempest in the teapot, and I do agree with Brownie in terms of the overall structure of how the founders put together our government as expressed in the Constitution. Excuse me. I think you put it very well. I don't agree as it pertains to the Supreme Court. However, any standing that I might have to make the point that I think is right is very much undercut by my own side when Chuck Schumer says one thing all those years ago and then today says, never mind, doesn't matter what I said before, when the Vice President of the United States comes out to push for Congress to take this up, and then we see a video of him saying that he wouldn't do it when he was chairman of the judiciary and there was a Republican president. It just cuts the leg out. The reality is the Constitution says that when there's a vacancy, the president shall appoint and the Senate shall advise and consent. Now, I don't take away anything from the Senate in terms of their power to say no. I think it's not only unfortunate that the Senate Judiciary Committee got together today and once again said, don't send us anybody, we refuse to even contemplate them. But I'll tell you what, I think they've made a critical political error that's going to really hurt those Republican senators in blue states who are facing some pretty tough battles.
I think that's part of it too here, Mike, because a lot of the senators, well, not a lot, let's be fair. We'd heard a couple of inklings here the last couple of days that there were some GOP members who were saying, well, maybe we want to back up on this because, let's face it, they were worried about whether or not they were going to be able to get elected back home. In your opinion, the fact that they are now all part of this GOP group, do you think it's really going to hurt them? I just don't know if, with all the things we're facing right now, if this is something that's going to hurt them with the voters back home.
I don't think it's going to hurt them at all. And I think if we think about the anger that we attribute to the Trump phenomena, then that same anger would say that the Senate would be smart by not even considering a nominee. But look, and I think Rick's got to get some points tonight for honesty about what Chuck Schumer said. But I think we can go back even further. Joe Biden said that back during the administration of Bush 41, said exactly the same thing.
Well, let's be fair. Biden did back up a little bit on that. He says that he was talking about something. He was talking about a fantasy, if you will. He wasn't really making it.
Of course,
that doesn't change it. I got to be honest. It doesn't change what he said.
Good.
He's
I'm
just
glad
saying
you said
that it was a hypothetical, which it was, but he said what he said.
Right.
No, I'm glad you said that because that seems to be the biggest thing that he's backing up, but it is all just politics. All right, gentlemen, I got to let you go here in a couple of minutes here, but I only have about a minute left here. So are we all just, now we're working on second place here. Rick, who finishes second tonight in Nevada?
Who cares about
come on,
place?
I'm going to ask it, but it's got to care somewhere along the line.
Crazy.
Got to care
I think
somewhere
Marco
along the line.
Rubio will probably get the second, but in presidential politics, you don't play for second, you play to win. And all of this conversation we have about who's coming in second, because that's the person who's going to be able to challenge Donald Trump. I think Michael and I think you, Ed, agree on this. He's going to have it wrapped up before second place has a chance to even begin to talk to him.
20 seconds, and Michael, are we all going to be out of business in the pundit side of things here by next Tuesday?
Oh, no, because what we'll be able to do after tonight is, was Trump above or below the pundits' projections and the poll projections?
Right.
That'll be the big discussion for tomorrow.
Look, I think the big discussion tomorrow is going to be from the Trump supporters are going to say, we would really like to see you punch out one of these protesters. Let's be honest.
And by the way, so you know, Ed, true to your prediction, the going word for me right now on my Twitter feed is parasite.
We did it. We finally, and we didn't even give it out. There you go. Michael Brown, Rick Ungar, gentlemen, always a pleasure. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again real soon. Stay with us. Our coverage of the 2016 Nevada Caucus continues.